All right, let's kick things. All right, we wanted to start out just meeting some of our new team members. Welcome Alex, Ishel, Richard, Dennis, Ballpreet, Zoe, Manjinder, and Alex. We're really happy you guys joined us.
So how many agents we got now?
Well, we trimmed some and then we've gained some.
Ooh. I didn't get trimmed, did I?
No, but can you see me after the meeting?
No, when they ask you if they're coming.
So raise your hand if you made it to our legal symposium here. So definitely the phones are still blowing up and still ringing. New forms, new changes. It's definitely, it's going to take a little bit for things to kind of set in and for you to really like know it like the back of your hand, like you did for many, many years. So I did think it would be a good idea to go ahead and do a quick overview, but don't forget all of our recordings are on our YouTube channel. But if you go to our channel, you're only going to see 4 videos there, but on the playlists is where all of our videos are. They're just hidden in there and they're not public. So if you went to our page, you wouldn't find it. I would say subscribe to it too, at least, so then you know that where the videos are at. It makes it easier to jump on whenever you want to rewatch stuff. I think we had a lot of requests for that last video for sure. All right, so let's do a quick recap. So current issues with buyer broker services agreements. This is the major things we're seeing people make mistakes on, okay? The top one was just brokers not signing the agreement. And especially first, right? Like you should be signing all, if there's a document that requires your signature, please sign it first. So then when it goes out to the client, you've got mutual. You don't want like a listing agreement. I had someone that sent it to the client. They hadn't signed it yet. Now we got new forms past the date of when they even got, before they got mutual on it. So it's like, now you're signing on paperwork that's already expired. It's like, you got to use the new forms. And then of course, turning in buyer brokerage, agreements missing signatures. We had one where the buyer didn't sign it. So it's like, they gotta be signed. Getting buyer broker services agreements, MLS form 41, or even the John Scott version, signed after mutual agreement. You can't do that. You just simply cannot. You're breaking the law. It's a misdemeanor. I mean, it says you're breaking the law. It's not just MLS rules. It's not just like, the Department of Licensing rule, like it's literally a law that went into effect. It passed last year and it started on January 1st. So how many days ago was that?
A while.
284.
Well, we had 277 just last week, so you're close. All right, do not send buyer broker services agreements along with your purchase and sale agreement. For a buyer to sign, Inathena sign, all in one. Like, don't do that. You have to get hired first, then you can work. It's just like a listing. Are you gonna go to the seller's house and go do your full presentation, talk to them about, what you're gonna do in your services, and then you just start working? Like, oh yeah, let's get the landscape, let's go, I'm gonna pay for photos, for drones, for videos, and fork out a ton of money for marketing and stuff like that. And then later on, like, oh yeah, I guess we better sign a listing agreement.
Now, do we still have the one house rule?
Yeah, yep. The rules have not changed for that. The rules of engagement, let's call it. So you get one chance, one meeting to meet with a client and explain the laws. After that, you can't do any real estate services, no brokerage services, nothing. Until you have an agreement signed. That's the law. Plus, it's easy, but it's hard. All right, let's look at the MLS forms updates. Which forms will need to be updated? Erin and I talked a lot about the old listings, and she's like completely agreed that if you have an old listing and it's not live yet, don't worry about it. If it's already signed, it's not worth the headache to go back and get something re-signed for listing agreements. So if you got a 1A, this old one, it's not live on the MLS yet. But if you have paperwork that you've sent, it's not signed, you got to do new ones. because the forms have updated. If you don't have mutual on any of that old paperwork, you gotta get it. So any agreements that are not mutual, you need to get new 1As. Questions about that? Pretty simple. Okay, so for a buyer broker services agreement, Form 41, or equivalent, if you use the John Scott version, the buyer broker compensation must be a specific amount. So if you did a thing that said it would be a range or anything like that, or above something out, like, no, that doesn't qualify. Overage cannot go to the firm. If you had a 41 and you mark that little checkbox that says, oh, if it's greater than the amount I'm charging you, that comes to me and the firm. If you have that, that doesn't work either. And then no filtering of listings. If you did in that section about filtering any listings for the client, like, oh, if it doesn't have any SOC that's suitable, to our agreement, then I won't show it to you. You can't have marked any of that section either. So as long as those are those three, if those three are true and you're like, yeah, I made it a specific amount. I did not mark the box for any overage goes to the firm, and I did not mark anything in this section for filtering listings. If that's you, you do not need to update that buyer brokerage services agreement. But if you did any of those three, yes, you have to get new ones signed with any buyer who is not in contract. So if you're mutual on a deal, you're fine. You don't have to worry about it. If that deal dies, what do you think? You gotta re-sign one if you have any of those, because those are the new rules and the laws that have passed. So that's it. Chase.
Define filtering of listings real quick.
Yeah, that means like if, Chase, you're my buyer. Hey, I know that I've got so much percent, that we've agreed to that you'll pay me. Of course, I'm gonna do a great job and negotiate and get the seller to pay it on your behalf. But if there's any listings that have nothing, would you like me not to show those to you? And you say, yeah. You can't do that anymore. Now it's any listing you can show. Any other questions? You guys are quiet. All right, let's look at the form itself. The 1A listing agreement, the biggest change, right? The biggest thing that you really got to pay attention to is the new section for either one of the check boxes. And the first one is buyer to request compensation in the offer. Okay. In lieu of offering a specific compensation amount, seller invites the buyer to include in the buyer's offer the amount that buyer requests seller to compensate the buyer brokerage firm, which amount must be agreed to by the parties. And this new quotation here, request and offer, the new phrase is what can be in listings. So when you pull up any listings, you're going to be looking, and I'll show you here in a second. There's already 17 of them in the MLS. I called Jeannie Simpson, the lead attorney for Northwest MLS, and had some conversations about, I thought you guys were talking, potentially going to do a drop-down menu to have these two choices. She said, yes, that's what we originally tried to do. We wanted to do. The system wasn't jiving. It wasn't working correctly. So what they did is they literally they actually expanded the field for you to write in your own saying. So she said you could see some different things, and I saw a couple other ones that were different, that someone said none offered. You could say none offered, but ask. You could say anything you want. So it's kind of like a little weird. So you might see some listings that say something different. Now, when you're looking through the multiple, in Matrix, and you're looking at multiple listings and you're scrolling through and you got the kind of the box view where you can see a little more information detailed. When you see the SOC, you're going to see words, and the words kind of cram and crunch into the other line. I think they got to make some adjustments in the system to kind of like make that fit better. So we'll see what they do. They're gonna do some tweaks to it, but they got to make some adjustments.
One thing, this is all complaint based, right?
Mhm.
Meaning that there's not commission Nazis.
in the MLS who are gonna decide whether you send a listing with less commission to your buyer or not.
No,
Yeah, okay, so it's all complaint based. Okay, okay, well then,
okay, so
let them find.
request and offer will be displayed in the compensation section of the listing. Literally, these words. I saw one of them that said request. So they just typed in request. So you're gonna see different stuff. Now, the other box is the no offer of compensation. Seller declines to offer and does not intend to pay buyer brokerage compensation. Seller acknowledges that a buyer may still submit an offer that includes an amount that the buyer requests seller to compensate the buyer brokerage firm. None will be displayed in the compensation section of the listing. So the whole idea behind this is when you present to a seller and you guys are having the dialogue and you talk about what you charge for your listing compensation, right? You do your box that you, hey, this is what I charge, whatever that is, you're deciding that. When you get to the next section of B, now you've got all of this to fill in or to decide, will they want to offer something from the beginning or make this choice? Who knows which way it's gonna go? We're talking to some of our top producers and they're thinking, well, we might see this become a strategy where some brokers, they don't even wanna deal with it. They don't wanna deal with presenting to sellers with all of the hoopla and the stuff that's going on across the nation. Cause a lot of them, the news, they're all still, talking about how, oh, no one's paying compensation anymore for buyers. So as of the 17th on Saturday, that's when the rest of the country had to change all three of those rules at once, which is not a lot of time. Even in our own state, Spokane MLS and other MLSs that are realtor-owned MLSs are all implementing those three changes at the same time, which is brutal. We've been working on our changes for just shy of 5 total years. I consider us to be pretty lucky. Tim?
So, we're gonna see listings that say, make us an offer on the
You might even see someone say that phrase because it's an open box for you to type what you want. Or you just put chocolate chip cookies or Annie's chocolate truffles. Whatever the seller wants to offer for an incentive. That's what it is. It's an incentive to bring more buyers, hopefully, right? But the seller can make that decision. So it could be easier. Could be easier for you. I don't know. We're gonna have more dialogue. We're gonna have more training sessions and definitely talk about how we're gonna move this forward. So let me show you guys what it actually looks like, right? When you actually get your input sheet in the buyer brokerage comp, there's 25 characters in here now. So when you're looking at those listings and the multi-view, it's like, not, it used to only fit a really small window. So now it's gonna be whatever you type in here. But the idea was to either say request an offer or you put none. And then the compensation type in the dropdown is just $1 or a percentage. Don't forget tail provisions, days. This is required if compensation is offered by the seller. So you're supposed to put that in. What's the default? How many days default?
180.
180. All right. All right, so this is the listing. Look what it says. Compensation, request an offer. There's 17 of them live right now already. So now it's in here. So that's what it's gonna literally look like when you go search. When you select that listing from transaction desk, it's like, I want to write up this house for my buyer. You click that box, when you get to your forms, it is literally going to input exactly what's in that box right on the front of the Form 21. So as long as you're using transaction desk, you're going to be fine, because do not forget, this is seller's offer, if any. And that is what is supposed to come over from what's in the listing. What if you're, got a for sale by owner or an off-market deal? What goes in this?
Nothing.
You leave it blank?
No, but I mean, when you pull it up in transaction desk, it's not gonna have anything in it, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be blank, but will you leave it blank?
Of course not, if you wanna get paid anything.
Is the seller on an off-market deal offering anything in a multiple listing service?
No,
No, so you have to put 0, or you can even write in, request an offer. To make it clear that you want that seller to pay it.
no, can't you like put 8% there and then
No.
negotiate down?
No,
No.
seller's offer. Does the seller have an offer?
Wait to the next step.
Wait till yeah, option B is gonna be, it's gonna be clear in a second. And this is where people are still calling. We're getting tons and tons of calls about this, like. So. Let's look at the next one. None offered. That's another phrase that someone wrote. What did they say the choices were? None or request an offer. So people are gonna write different things. I just wanna make sure you guys like know like what to expect. When you look at a listing and go, what does that mean? So none offered. If you selected that listing to write it up, that's what happens. All right, time for a pop quiz. You guys love these. Number 2 pencils ready? Okay, so for this very first deal, okay? The listing has 2.5% in it being offered by the seller. Your Form 41 is also 2.5%. How would we fill this in? What's gonna be in this first spot?
2.5%.
Well, what's gonna be in this drop down?
Percentage.
A percentage. Cause what's the seller offering? A percentage.
Yeah.
And the seller says 2.5.
Correct.
Okay?
Yeah.
And what is in your buyer brokerage agreement?
2.5.
That's also 2.5.
Right.
So how would we fill in this one?
2.5.
2.5. So it's exactly, you have to be looking at this section 17. And like, don't go through it super fast. I mean, that's the thing, you're gonna have to like slow down, pause. Pay attention to like what exactly the seller, if they're offering anything. Or none at all, if any, right? That's what's always gonna be in line A. And then in this first drop down, if it is $1 or a percentage, you will use that drop down. But if it's nothing of that, you're not gonna use the drop down. You'll leave that blank. Okay, so let's look at the next one. The listing is offering a 2% SOC. Your buyer brokerage services agreement is for 3. Your buyer wants you to request the seller to pay the full amount because they don't have enough funds. They're a first-time home buyer. How are we filling in the 17, first box?
Percentage.
That's a percent? How much is the seller offering?
2.5.
2. The seller's only offering 2.
Right,
So it's that first boxes or line is always going to be what the seller is offering, not what you want them to offer. The want to offer is always line B. So you're gonna ask the seller to pay the 3. All right, pretty easy. Let's get the next one. The listing is offering, the seller's offering 3% in the listing for the SOC. Your buyer brokerage services agreement is for 2.5. Okay? So what are we gonna do with the first box? That's a percent. What is the seller offering?
3.
They're offering 3. What are we putting in B?
2.5.
Check that box.
2.5.
Wait.
Check that box.
So see, this is why we do this.
Put the full amount and then check the box.
So you want, if you put 2.5 and you were to give credit, you're literally giving credit from your 2.5. This box always controls. You really gotta pay attention to that, to the B box, because that is what you want them to pay. And then you're right, you gotta mark the addendum for buyer credit and include the 41C in your offer and add it to the addenda line for the catalog. So when you're given the credit, you're gonna be doing it that way. Don't get caught. We've already had some people actually write up and then that's what they did. They, in that exact same scenario, it was 3, they had 2.5. No overage can go to the firm unless what?
41C.
Unless you do an amendment to your buyer brokerage services agreement. If you guys are in a situation, you know, where you're working hard, maybe you showed a lot of houses and you talk to the buyer and go, look, this, I mean, obviously with our agreement, we have that for 2.5. This listing is actually offering 3. Are you okay with the full 3%, you know, coming to the firm, being paid to me? If the buyer's like, yeah, no, dude, you're worth it. Or what, you know, if the conversation happens, you can amendment, you know, the 41 with the 41A. Remember the language we went over in the legal class that we did last week? So I've got that language up into transaction desk for your office clauses. So you can actually go to the 41A, go to 6, go to other, click in the box, go to your office clauses and click, and that whole language would just go right in there for you. So we've got it, I got it uploaded and changed. So you can make an amendment just for that listing, not amending your full agreement. So if that deal were to die and it didn't work out, it would revert back to the 2.5 for the buyer. All right, one more. Listing has request and offer, and your buyer brokerage services agreement is 3%. What are we filling on the first drop down?
Percent.
A percent? Listing, the sellers has listing request and offer. So yeah, blank, you're not gonna put it, it's not a dollar or a percentage of amount. So if the listing has that in request and offer, that's how you're filling it in. And then the buyer brokerage agreement was 3, and the seller or the buyer wants you to ask the seller to pay it. So that's how you would fill it in.
So how do I know that's 3%, not $3?
Oh, yeah, you know what? That's a good point. You would add 3, do a percent. Do a percent in that, because you can write it in. These are all write-ins now. So, yeah,
That's a good catch.
good catch, Chase. Because you're not, yeah, because there's no percent chosen in the beginning. That's always what's coming from seller, if any.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You get extra credit.
3% of purchase price.
Okay, and here's the last one. Listing brokers. The listing has 2.5% filled in, right, on the listing as a percent. And your seller decided an offer at 2.5 SOC for an incentive to bring buyers. And this is exactly what your offer looks like when you get it. What are you gonna do, listing brokers?
Love it.
Love it? What does that essentially mean?
Buyer's agent's not gonna pay.
The buyer's agent's not getting paid anything, or well, at least from the seller. Right? So this means that, oh, well, I guess the buyer's paying their buyer broker directly. Oh, here you go, seller.
Have a discussion.
Oh, I see lawyer porn now.
There you're at.
It's not up to you. Guess how many we've already had since last week, this week. This week, we've already had 4 deals submitted just like that. You're gonna have to have dialogue with your seller and say, hey, these are brand new forms, these are new updates. I'm really not sure, you know, exactly. You know, if the buyer really is actually paying their broker directly. But the way the contract is they're not being, they're not getting paid because they're not requesting any. This box and then the language in the boilerplate language in Form 21 supersedes everything.
Now, the My next question on those 4 deals that you got,
Mhm.
what are we telling the sellers?
Just what I said, just like, hey, there's, these forms have updated. I don't know for sure if that's what they truly meant, but this is the way that they wrote it up. What would you like me to do? Would you like me to reach out and make sure before we sign off on this, or you wanna leave it be? And wait all the way to closing, which it could obviously cause some issue, it could, because the broker, I mean, we've, we've had 2 deals this year that literally went like that already, even with the old forms. Cause they didn't fill it in.
And then you get into a situation where the buyer backs out and then there's an earnest money dispute.
Yeah.
Basically the best case scenario there, which isn't fun for anyone.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, if they don't do that, the buyer broker doesn't fill it in, and we're like, progressing through the transaction, maybe title or escrow, like, says something, they see the settlement statement,
Yeah.
estimated statement, they're like, hold on, this isn't right, and then they come back.
Yeah. When you have the dialogue with your sellers and you're in that same situation, if the seller's like, hey, let's see if you can find out if they really meant to do that. So now you're the listing broker, you pick up the phone, you call your escrow, call the closer, or have that team reach out to the buyer broker and ask for what form?
41.
No.
Service center.
Close. It's a new form that came last year, or updated in last year. A 40A. That's a compensation disbursement buyer funded. Tell them that will you please request the 40A? So when they go do that, the broker's probably gonna go, what's a 40A? And they're gonna hurry up, call their DB or call somebody, call Ghostbusters. They're gonna have to then figure it out, like, what does this mean? Oh, well, let's look at your contract, let's review. Uh-oh, you didn't fill in the front. You didn't want the seller to pay your compensation, Rob?
The 48 is buyer commission.
Yeah,
Budget.
yeah, exactly.
So
Dale?
why wouldn't you just call the other agent when you get the deal and ask them if they made a mistake or not?
Well, who do you represent? You got a statutory duty to your principal.
So you.
That's your client. You gotta talk to your client. What would you like to do? This is the way this is the way it's filled in.
Cause I can see a seller saying, no, we'll let the lawyer figure it out. No, we're
You
gonna.
could, and that's why you gotta talk about the dangers. That's exactly why we're having the conversation now. So when you guys aren't out in the field and you're dealing with this, that you're not gonna get stuck or you're not gonna get all the way to the end. What if you're in multiple offer situations? Could this be a strategy? Yeah. This happens all the time in commercial deals. Buyers pay the compensation all the time. It's no different. Yeah. All right. I'm off my high horse. Are you on the listing board? We had another great month, last month in July, we had 85 new listings come on, pretty good. So with that, Mr. Tony, would you like to come up and we'll do our drawing? We've got 2 certificates, and of course, you must be present to win. What is it again that they're winning? Custom?
This year, $50 for any bear printing signs. For your new signs.
The new custom modern signs
The
are
modern
available for
ones are
them.
cool, yeah.
Yeah, all right.
We got Shane. Shane here. No.
Shane Lundowski? Yeah. It's his birthday today. Happy birthday, Shane.
Oh, we should,
Oh.
no, well, not. All right. We'll speak for you.
Good contact, Alpha.
Oh,
All right, Bradley's not here.
Bradley Hanson. So you or a team member has to be present at least.
Alberta.
There's one. How many open houses are you up to? Now, you know,
Like
100 and what?
Like 14 maybe.
114
Wow.
so far this year. That's pretty good.
All right. Summer's here.
Summer. Nice, all right. Yes, actually. while
And
you come up, we can
summer
talk
has
about-
something to say too.
Talk about that.
Yeah. So if anybody is selling down in like Pierce County area or like South King, so Sager Family Homes, we're their exclusive brokers. And they have a new community up in Five Heights that they're releasing, and we actually have a super fun plan. Brokers open for tomorrow from 5 to 8 p.m. It's a casino night theme, so they've got a couple tables. There's gonna be poker, I think, craps, blackjack, and one other, I can't remember, with dealers, and like fake money, to give to everybody when they come in, so you can, gamble and play some games. We've got some catered food. We have a bartender who's gonna be there. So just come, at any point in time while we're there and just come have some fun. So, 5 to 8 p.m. And I'm gonna put a stack of these up here, so if anybody needs the details, it's.
Does MLS allow for liquor anymore?
I'm sorry?
Does MLS allow for liquor?
No, the builder does.
It's it's a bill, it's this, we're there to like greet and everybody, but this is a builder funded, provided event. Yes, so the builder is extending the invitation to everyone, so please feel free to come. Hopefully we'll see you guys there.
Good job. Yeah, congratulations, Summer, again. All right, let's go over a market update you have in your handouts, both Pierce and King County. Right now, we are in the last part of the summer market, right, for the 6 phases of the yearly housing cycle. And of course, this is the time when the listings will start to kind of slow it down a little. Let's look at King and Pierce. So I did put in June's last month numbers for the new listings. I don't know, it didn't pop up. And so total active in 2023 in June was 2181, and then 2865 for this June. In July, it was 2293 in 2023, and then 2982 in last month. So definitely that was higher. I totally thought that this line was actually gonna touch that one, because the way that listings were coming on, we thought for sure, I was like, oh man, we're probably we might even get to what 2022 was. But it didn't. 2022 still is higher, and that's residential only. All right, so King County residential, new listings total 2425. Last year at the exact same time was 2158. Total active, like I just said, 2982. Last year, same time was 2293. That's a 30% increase in inventory. It's definitely different. I mean, everybody said it like, wow, is it slow? Is everyone else slow? I kind of want to record people saying that and then wait till next year for every June and July. Like, this is what always starts happening every year, regardless of what, market we're in. And that's all because of the 6 phases of the yearly housing cycle. That literally is this, because this is our market, right? It fluctuates a little bit, but it follows this pattern every year. So that's a good thing to talk to sellers about, when you're strategizing about when to come on the market. All right, so pendings were at 1904. Last year, same time was 1826. That's barely, 4% up. Total close was 1799. And last year, same time was 1640. That's literally up almost 10%. And then the median price is right at a million still, pretty much 999. Last year, same time was 897. That's up 11.31%. It was actually driving a little higher before, but to think we're still in a positive gain is wonderful. And that puts us at a total of 1.66 month supply. I thought for sure we would have broke the 2-month supply the way things were going, but it just kind of slowed down. I think more and more people either got focused on their vacations too, or maybe that was part of the strategy you guys have been telling your sellers. Like, well, everyone else is coming on at the same time. Do you wanna do the same thing? It really depends on your market. You guys can get, in your handouts, you literally can see what MLS area number is doing what. You've got some other ones that are getting some much bigger gains, like area 710 is up 25.41%. Highest inventory level on the entire map was just shy of the 3. That's area 520. All right, let's look at condos for King County. Total new listings was 770, same time last year was 691. Total active is 1458. And last year, same time was 891. That's up 63.64% for King County condos. If you're dealing with condos right now for buyers, definitely like this could be a really good time. And they are over a 3-month supply. So you definitely got some competition out there. That'd be something to talk to buyers about. And also you better alert your sellers too, like, well, oh, let's try the market. I know you say we should list for $499, but I want $579. I think we should, try it. Probably not wise. There's too much competition. Just show it to them. Pendings were at 555 last year. It was 565, just barely off, not even 2%. Closed at 478. Last year, same time, 483, barely off 1%. Price point though was median is 530. Last year, same time was 510. It's almost up 4%. And then yes, the 3-month supply. Pierce County for June 2023 was 1230 last year, and then this year was 1790. And again, this is just Pierce County, single family residential. Look how close Pierce County got to hitting that line, like going up above it for 2022. What do you think it did for July's numbers? You think it followed the same pattern as King or increased? Any gamblers in the room? Think it increased? A couple people think it's increased. No, it actually went down too. It kind of followed the line. It did not go up higher. All right, Pierce County new listings was 1235. Last year, same time was 1115. Right now for total active was 1900. Last year, same time was 1278. That's up 48.67%. Definitely more available. 1115 total pendings last year, same time. Last year's barely different, 2.86. Total close is 927. Last year, same time, 916. Percent change, barely, over 1%. And then the median price is 575. Last year was 541. You're up 6.28%. Not quite the King County jump from, for the 11%. And then they're barely over a 2-month supply. So it's not quite that huge, though. It's a buyer's market. Anybody seeing those news clippings yet? It's a buyer's market. It's a buyer's market. It's not even a neutral market yet here. You got to be over that 3-month supply. And it's not. All right, with that, I have got a special guest. Come on up, Mr. Ty from American Home Shield. There you go,
sir.
Did you drive? This is the right click. Yeah, that's
Cool. I'm on this side out of your way. I'm Ty Frederick with American Home Shield. I do home warranties. Don't feel like you need to retain very much of this. It's really just so you know the ugly face and you know who to call. I know my place in this whole transaction. We're just trying to get you to the finish line, maybe make some buyers and sellers feel a little bit better about it. So this is what I'm gonna do. Just run through some stuff. There's a lot of tenure in this office, so I'm gonna cruise through a lot of this. I think you guys know a lot about it. This is me. I am a normal human being too. I coach a lot of basketball. I'm a director for Summer Basketball Academy. I have a 6'6", 16-year-old and a 6'1", 13-year-old. So send food if there's any leftovers. Yeah, it's a lot. And actually these pictures are outdated. This is my youngest, Scooter. He's actually 6'1" now and 13. And my older son, Goose, is 6'6". So yeah, we're doing the whole recruiting thing for him. So which is awesome. This is our house in Montana. If you can't get a hold of me, like really can't get a hold of me, I'm probably there. We just got back on Sunday, hadn't been there in a year. This is our backyard. But yeah, we love Montana. And yes, I am a diehard Coug. That's the Apple Cup trophy. Sending the booze out from a lot of UW people. That's all good. I've been getting a lot of it, so. Anyway, you can't predict the future, but you can plan for it. Really the basics of what a home warranty is. I created that sheet. It has been my favorite marketing piece, aside from anything that American Home Shield offers. If I could have made it scratch and sniff, I would have. Big pictures, what is a home warranty? What is homeowner insurance? Think of it this way, and I have a background in insurance too. I actually owned an agency for 10 years before I did this. So think of the home warranty as the primary damage, what actually failed, and then think of your homeowner's insurance as the damage that it caused, the secondary damage. So when I was in the insurance world, I would hate that here we'd haul off and cut a check for $30,000 for a new roof, but at the bottom of it, there'd be like a $700 fee that just the insurance wouldn't pay. That $700 was actually what failed, the piece of flashing that failed, or some shingles went bad and then it caused a bunch of water damage. Now I work for the company that we take care of that little $700 part. So when you actually have a system in the house or an appliance that fails, that's where we jump in. I left a bunch of the pricing sheets here too. These are great to have for you while you're out in the field. This is, besides the explanation, that's probably a great one for you to have. If you'd like a digital copy, shoot me a text, an email, and I'll send it right back to you. We made it very simple. We have 3 different plans. Does it have air conditioning or does it not? You know, we don't have a lot of a la carte here because we want to make it easy for you guys. But the biggest things are, is it under 5,000 square feet? Does it have air conditioning or not? And then I can get you some prices for single family home, duplex. We have up to 4plex now. We don't do a lot of commercial, traditional commercial, but the single family homes, the duplexes, 4plexes that your landlords might have, this is actually a great product for them because now they don't have to worry about taking care of the fixes themselves. There's a warranty on it. We can use our dispatch and get our contractors out there to take care of that. So, yeah, 1-page pricing sheet is good. So why American Home Shield? Again, I'm going to fly through this. Our parent company is Front Door. You've probably seen a lot of advertising coming out. I don't know if anybody's seen the Warrantina. Have you seen her? Rachel Dratch. She's in the grocery store, home warranty. No, you'll see it now that I pointed it out, but, so Front Door is our parent company based out of Memphis. Been going for 50 years. We are still the largest home warranty company that's out there. And if I can give you a cheesy little plug, if you're going to do it, why not do it with the biggest and best? So, $2 billion in home services claims paid in the last 5 years. And that keeps going up. I don't know if anybody's had to replace a furnace or buy appliances in the last couple of years. But appliances, I think in the last 24 months has gone up close to 60%. Here's the other side of that. And I think I have a breakdown of this. Yeah, 35% of our HVAC claims are on systems that are under 10 years old. The one that always gets me is not the water heater, but the appliances. I don't have it on here. Our recent numbers on the appliances, the average appliances that we fix or replace are under 6 years old.
Yeah.
So I hate to stand up here with a gray beard and say they don't build them like they used to. They don't build them like they used to. It's the reality. We like those 30-year-old furnaces that sound like a freight train coming. They don't need a whole lot. So the home warranty has actually become more of a need because of this. More manufacturers are starting to not produce replacement parts. They're moving to different models. And so it's harder to get those things. So in our situation, if we can't fix it, we're going to replace it. So yeah. Okay, add benefit to you. Our pro site, so it's pro.ahs.com. I bring this up for a couple of reasons. One, the benefit to you is, well, let me go back. Don't use ahs.com. Don't use ahs.com. Don't use ahs.com. We have 2 different divisions. ahs.com is our direct to consumer. I'm in the real estate division, which is pro. prices are a little bit lower with me, but the bigger part of this is direct to consumer has a 30-day waiting period. We just had one that bit a buyer in the butt. She was a great buyer, going through her checklist of things she needed to do. She ended up getting the warranty on her own without including any of us. She went directly to ahs.com. Of course, 2 days after she moved in, her furnace failed, not covered, because she had the direct to consumer product that has a 30-day waiting period. Where with the real estate product with me, day one, everything's available. If it fails as soon as she turns it, we would have covered that. So the big part of that, don't use ahs.com. Call Ty if there's any questions on that. The other part with the pro portal, depending on how you like to order these, if you have a team or you like to do them yourself, this is where you're going to do it. If you like to order where you don't want to think about it, shoot me the first page of the purchase sale. If the home has AC or not, I'll get the invoice out to escrow, make it nice and easy for you. But if you do have an account with the pro, you'll be able to track all of the orders that you have. We've seen those as good touch points if anniversaries are coming up, their renewals coming up. That could just remind you to follow up with somebody after a year of, hey, how's the house been for a year? So, the other part of it too, you get, as a broker, you get our real estate pricing, regardless of how long you've been there, minus $50 on all the plans. So you don't have to be going through a real estate transaction to get the real estate pricing for your own properties. And then you get a $50 discount. Cool. That's all I got. Nice and easy. Call Ty, the home warranty guy. Just want you to know who to get a hold of if you need something. All good?
All right. Upcoming events, we got a lot of stuff. Tomorrow morning, we got Kellen Love coming to present again for homes.com. This is take back your listings, amplify your brand, and grow your income. It's gonna be right here at 9:30 in the morning. I think they're bringing breakfast. They want people to register so they know how much food to bring. So if you want to scan and come in, do not buy leads. Do not buy leads. Do not buy leads. There's my point. Don't buy leads. They have been selling, I mean, they're a new competitor to Zillow and they've gained a lot of, eyes on their site. They definitely are getting a lot of traffic. But I don't want you guys buying leads. You definitely should have your free profile up and running. And that should be on realtor.com, Zillow, homes.com. Anybody else? Any of the ones that are free, you should be on there. You definitely should be on there. So if you have not got your homes.com profile up and running, you definitely want to do it. People are getting some free leads. There are, but just like anything, some of them suck and some of them are good and legit. Oh, did you get it, John?
Yeah, I got a little.
All right. Legal lunch. We got that. I know we just went through our own kind of a legal symposium last week, but legal lunch, our normal one from corporate, is on Thursday. We'll have a watch party here again. So come on in and we'll get lunch at 12:30. Tom Ferry Success Summit is next week, isn't it? How? Already. So rather than paying the $800, we've got the live stream be here every day from 7 a.m. till 3 p.m. They're in Texas, so the time difference is a little bit harder on us. But you want to come in and watch every single day? Just come in and bring notes, stuff like that. I know he prints like the books, but really most of the book is advertisements, and just bring something to take notes in. Everyone always gets a good idea from these events. You got great top producers who are presenting, free ideas, things that you can implement and actually make it your own. So show up. We're going to do watch parties for all 3 of those days from the 27th through the 29th, right here. Golf tournament coming up, Freaky Friday. So it's Halloween in September, and that's going to be on the 6th. September 6th, Friday, 7:45 a.m. is the early bird cash drawing, and then they're going to tee off at 8:15, and it's going to be at the Auburn Golf Course. You must register though to be able to show up. Kayla, how much is it? 35? 25. $25. You get lunch, you get golf, prizes, you guys know. And of course, for people who dress up, there's extra prizes for there too. NARP event is actually September 12th through the 15th. in San Diego. We've got like a good group of what, 5 or 6 people going so far from here. Anybody who wants to go, you are welcome to go. You can scan and register. It's gonna be, it's a lot of fun. We did last year in Miami. This year it's in San Diego. They've got some really good events on some technology with AI, stuff in real estate, a lot of presenters. And then who is the huge guest that they've got again this year? Tony Robbins will be there. And it's a great event, great networking. So if anybody wants to go, I know that the Hyatt or the hotels are filling up, right?
Still have one.
There's one room. Oh, you still have enough because you bought 2?
Yeah.
Just in case. So there's an extra room from Tony you could buy from, in case it's sold out. But if anyone wants to go, come on with us. Battle of the Barristers will be coming October 17th. This is a good one. Great event. If you've never been to one of those, all of the attorneys, real estate attorneys box it out and go over and fight over, they literally will argue. It's awesome. If you've never gone, you definitely need to check that one out. And every single year it sells out, every year. And it's at the Maidenbower. Our own Erin Veriano, general counsel at John Scott, will be there. She's on there again this year, but and she's great. So definitely scan that if you want to register. Right, you guys got it? We will send that out, of course, too. Company news and highlights, JLS Engage weekly office hours. If you want to join in and ask any questions about the CRM system, the Salesforce, John Scott Engage, that you can scan and set appointments and they'll help you out with that. Broker Care will be here tomorrow. Is that correct? He's available afternoon. He's already booked the whole morning. So, but he'll be here all day, Ibrahim. There's new materials for the Happy Home Anniversary in your MyDesk. There's some new QR code, Popeye stickers, social media images. Also schedule a meeting with Chase, our managing director of Access Home Closing. He can help you with getting the information for all of those as well.
Not leads, but actual actable information from your nearby neighbors that you connect
Yeah.
with your community, not people that are surfing the internet.
Exactly. Targeted.
That's right.
Here's some of the new postcards that they've got in there that you can send by and do custom ones. McKenna made some really cool ones too for print here in the office. If you want to do those, we still have those, right, McKenna? Yep. And then feature JLS tools. Don't forget your Virtuents. You got 10% discount in your MyDesk for Matterport, digital photography. You do all of the scheduling through that. Very simple. And then the win a trip for John L. Scott is August 28th. So literally you got like a week left. So if you've got using those for those open houses, we have a ton of people that use. I know people did neighborhood night out. You guys use those too. How many did you get? Handful. I know a couple people had a good amount that they've got to turn in, but you can get those in your in the John L. Scott library under the marketing, and then in marketing folder in the win a trip folder. Question, Summer? You gotta print them now. Yeah, they used to do the print, like the ones with the tear off sheets and all, yeah, they quit. Cause all the things updated and they're just like, you know what, it's all digital. Some people are literally making their own with a Google Doc and making it digital. And then they let people go register, sign in, and then when they finish the event, it literally makes an Excel for them. But then you gotta remember, you gotta go in and fill in the cards. Is that correct, Kayla? You have to send and fill out the cards separately, right? For all of those people. So some people were doing it that way to make it easier. But either way, they have to have cards because I think they pull up and literally draw for them. Who did? Where's Yvonne? Oh, I can't stop it. Yvonne, are you there? No.
So, can you hear me?
Barely.
Question for you.
There we go.
On the winter trip, do we just give it to the front desk or do we mail it directly to Bellevue? Can we fax it to someone?
It goes to marketing@johnlscott.com. Yeah, there's an address literally on the form where you send it. Yeah, you got to get them to corporate.
Okay, thank you.
Don't forget referrals, sending referrals anywhere on the planet. You got a lead in Arizona, someone who wants to buy or sell. Don't forget, in your MyDesk, you can send those. That is the best cherry on top, extra money for your business. So easy. Our office is #1 in the company still for sending these out everywhere. We've had sales in Belize, other countries. I mean, like, it's a no-brainer. Like, literally, that should be part of your business model. Like, every time you're talking to clients, that you are a one-stop shop for real estate anywhere on the planet. If you know anyone who needs help, send them to me first, and you'll take care of them. All you gotta do is put in the referral. They handle everything. They keep you updated every week, and you get a 24% referral fee.
Yeah.
It's easy. Huh. Where was your sales?
Silicon Valley last.
Silicon Valley, when, last year?
Yep, no, it's last month.
Last month?
Yeah.
Deals done, closed?
Done, closed, paid.
That was your money for the year, man, Silicon Valley.
Take it.
That's pretty good. All right, with that, we'll hand it off to Mr. Aaron Hafner for the mortgage minute.
The funny part is every time you say Aaron Garrett, it freaks me out. Cause I'm like, did I forget something? Did I say something? Aaron. Aaron said that we could do, I did? I don't remember that. Good morning, everybody. How are y'all doing?
Good.
Good. So let's dive in. So previously on Priority Home Lending. What did we go over? We went over inflation. I said this, I'm Nostradamus, right? I said inflation's coming down, the labor market is softening, and the Fed is getting ready to cut rates. That's why it was positive attitude Tuesday, Pat, last time we talked. And followed by positive attitude Wednesday, Paul. So, but anyhow, we talked about the lock effect, where buyers might want to move into a bigger home, but they're different, but the rate differential compared to what they're paying is too much. And in auction, you get about 1% between what your current rate is and what the current mortgage rate is. So then we talked about, hey, look, if you get to 5.5%, you might get about 9.5 million or 9.5 million different transactions possible, because people might be willing to unlock what they have because you're at 4.5%. And it's at 5.5 that will do it. So this is just kind of positive potential that I think we can see. And that's what we talked about last time. So on today's episode, we're going to talk about what's going on. So at August 23rd versus August 24th. Okay. So last year at this time, the core inflation number was 4.3%. And today we're at 2.6. And then the core CPI inflation number is 4.7, we're at 3.2. And then the unemployment rate from 3.5 to 4.3. And that's a big deal because they want to slow the economy down and have more unemployment. And then the 10-year treasury went from 4.15 to 3.90. It's actually 3.83 today. But you'll notice that the Fed funds rate has not changed at all, has not moved. So what's it going to tell you, right? So it looks like something's going to have to change. So here's where we are today. So 3.864. Last time we talked, we were probably right about here. Then it dropped. Because the world was going to end because employment numbers came a little bit worse than expected. And so anyway, it's bounced back down. But that's where we are today. I think this is kind of the stabilization where we're going to see it. Okay. For the newbies here that just joined, this is the 10-year treasury, and this is where mortgage rates are pretty much determined from. Okay. So you see these up and downs. This will kind of give you an idea what mortgage rates are doing. And today is at 3.864. You add about 2%. Or 2.75, maybe 3% on top of that to get what the current rates are. Okay, just to give you an idea. So with that, you'll see today's rate is on 6.53%, where last year was 7.37. Okay, which is good. But let me say something about this rate. Okay, this is when when interest rates come down like this, everyone says, "Hey, our rates are this. We're at 6%. We're doing these other things." The thing with this rate is that it doesn't have any add-ons to it. So essentially they're called loan level pricing adjustments, LLPA. Like what is that? That's essentially a tax that Freddie and Fannie charge based upon the risk factors of the loan. If you strip all the risk factors away, and maybe only 0.10% of people can qualify for this, that's what you'd be. Because they're going to add things to credit score, down payment, income, right, is a big one on top of that. If you make too much money in the area, they charge more interest rate. I know it's silly, but that's kind of how it works. So those are the things that are added to this. Okay. So when you see this, I'm giving the trend, because if I don't show you that, you're gonna think our rates are high, so I'm gonna show you exactly what everyone else is showing, okay? So around 6.53. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so it's 6.53 today, the ARM is around 6.45, about the same. I think as interest rates come further down, this will become more popular again, because their ARM, because it's a short-term rate. It's a 7-year ARM, and that short-term rate gets smaller and smaller, this rate will become smaller too. And around 6.72 for the jumbo stuff. Okay. And not much impact on rate from yesterday.
What is the actual starting rate on that arm?
Starting rate, for you mean,
When you, if I was to take out that adjustable rate mortgage that you had there. If I was to take that out right now, what would be my starting rate?
the same rate, 6.45. Yeah, so there's no difference between the 7-year rate and the 30-year rate.
It's a short term, not an adjustable. So it is, that's the
Oh.
rate.
Well,
It's
yeah,
a shorter
so
term.
let me go back up. So this is based upon a shorter term interest rate. And this is based on a longer term interest rate. But the problem is you're seeing like an inversion with interest rates. So they're basically the same. There's no difference on these right now.
Oh, okay.
But as things become more normalized, this interest rate will be lower. And this will have, because this is determined under shorter term rate. The shorter term rates are higher than the 30-year fixed rates.
No, so do you have a 30-year arm?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it's amortized for 30 years, but the first 7 years are fixed. Does that make sense? Does that answer? Okay. So there's that minimal interest rate here impact. So anyhow, so here's what's coming Fed. Here's the upcoming Fed events that could shape rate. So at 9:05, the job reports come out. If that job report is a lot lower than what people think, or it's gonna be worse than what people think, then that'll have impact on it. The thing is too, the Fed is for the last 6 months, they're readjusting these employment numbers, and they've been readjusting almost 1 million jobs that have been lost from the beginning of the year because they've readjusted everything. So that's about, then the Fed meeting's on 9/18 next week, that'll help you out. And then if possible, they're probably gonna drop the interest rate a quarter point. That's pretty much given, that's what the market's already said. If these employment numbers come out and they're worse than what they are, then you might see a 0.5 point cut. But I think right now the interest rates are baked in this quarter point. Okay? Anything that changes that's different will impact that rate, but I think you're probably looking at a quarter point, maybe 0.5 point. So, any questions on the rates and kind of direction and stuff that's going on? Good? Okay, what to do and how we're unique. First of all, it's back to school priority. Okay, so on your packet in the back list, there's a chart that'll say, Lee and I are here to help you out, educate as much as possible. That's our big deal. So if you want to talk to us about anything about Mortgage 101, purchase consults, what is PMI, whatever, we'd be more than happy to have either a consultation or we can meet with your team and kind of go over everything so everyone's up to speed. What goes on? There's no shame in not knowing what some of this stuff is. We're here to help out. So, for sure. So that's on your packet. So reach out to us and we'll be more than happy to get you back to school with priority you. And then we had the class 2 weeks ago for the big box Reno, where you can roll the cost of the loan or the cost of the remodel into the loan itself. Up to 10% of the appraised value can be financed. You can do those below 3% down. You just have to use Home Depot or Lowe's. And we found out you have to use Home Depot or Lowe's. You can't split the difference. Okay?
You did find
Either
out.
Home Depot's or Lowe's. And then the bar receives a check back at closing. So in other words, if you go to Lowe's and you charge a $25,000 to do the kitchen, they'll get the check at closing for 25 grand. They go to Lowe's, give them the check. As long as the stuff's done within 120 days, you're good.
Wow.
Okay. So 10% of the as is completed price. So if you do a 500,000, you go to 50 grand. You got to cut 5% up front for contingency that has to be paid for by the buyer. It can't be rolled into it, and you get the funds within 72 hours after closing. It's a pretty cool deal, especially first time home buyers. We went over that class. We also talked about the Covenant Home Program. That one, I'm closing the first one at the end of the month.
Woo! Thanks.
Yes.
That's awesome.
It's trying to tricky to find out. So the thing is, so you can do on this is that you can do a 2-1 bite or a temporary bite out on this one. So we had some extra money from the seller. So the agent doing a great job was like, hey, we got an extra $3,000 from the seller. But all the costs are rolled into the covenant program, so you bring nothing out of pocket. And so reducing the covenant program by, the covenant down payment by $3,000 doesn't really help anything 15 years from now, right?
Right.
But I can use that money to do a temporary buy down for the first year. So we save them $250 a month for for the first year, paid for by the seller. And then it's great. It's a good program. So yeah, we're closing by the end of the month.
Does
So
anybody not know what a covenant home loan is yet? Everybody in the room? Raise your hand higher.
it's good.
We
It's
gotta
no
see.
shame. It's all
Yeah,
good.
it's like, you gotta know what it
Good,
is.
all right. So it's a down payment assistance program provided by the state, the Washington Housing Finance Commission. And it's a down payment, so typically down payment you would usually get would be 3 to 4%. But this down payment program allows you to get 20% down,
20%.
interest free. It's a loan, not a gift, right? It's interest free and you pay it back when you sell a house, okay? But it's interest free, so it's free money. So the restrictions are, it's based on mandates with the Covenant Ownership Act. And it says you have to be household income at or below 100% of the area AMI, which means in King County, it's 147,000. In Snohomish, it's 147,000. I think Pierce is 120, maybe 115, something like that. You have to be a first-time home buyer. The home buyer, parent, grandparent, or great-grandparent, just the lineage, you gotta document the lineage, matriarch or patriarch. It has to be lived in Seattle before 1968. And the person lived in Washington before 1968 is Black, Hispanic, Native American, Alaska Native, Native Hawaiian, or other Pacific Islander, Korean, or Asian Indian. So we just have to go back and trace the family history. As long as you have a patriarch, a matriarch, 1968, and before they've been approved to live here, you get birth certificates, death certificates, and stuff like that. And they're a first-time home buyer, they could get a 20% down payment assistance. And those rates are cheaper than regular rates, right? The one I locked was 6.375% on the 30-year fixed. With a 1% origination fee, which is covered by the covenant. So you can roll that into the down payment, up to $150,000.
Hey,
And it's only paid on the sale of the house. There's no, it doesn't kick in 5 years. They're gonna get a bill or nothing
To
like
sell a
that.
house or in 30 years.
Sure.
When your mortgage is up. Great program. So, then we also have our summer savings, so $2,000 towards any closing costs prepaids. If we lock by September 15th, if you use a John L. Scott real estate agent, which is great. It's cool. Appraisal, you can use it for mortgage insurance, permanent buy down. Anything goes. I told you the one before we did one, we saved $100 a month with the permanent buy down, or the temporary buy down. Yeah, $200 a month for the temporary buy down, using that, so it's pretty cool. Then we have our certified mortgage ready program, get full and everyone fully approved, ready to go. We can close in 10 days, provide certainty to the seller, certainty to the buyer that you can close. And we reach out to the listing agent and let them all know, everything's been approved, underwritten, and all that good stuff.
10-day close.
And yeah, 10-day close, and then we have a refi file. So, 2,000 upfront, refi time. Great deal, so.
All right,
Any questions with that? Can I ask you a question real fast?
yes.
Okay, first question, because it's so January outside. About how many espresso beans, Alberto, or is he there? Okay.
Yeah.
How many espresso beans are required to make one espresso?
Like one shot?
65.
55.
125.
30.
Correct answer, 42, so somewhere between these. Two.
Whoa.
42.
Yeah,
42.
42 beans. Man, that environmental impact. Okay. About how many coffee beans does it take to produce 1 pound of roasted coffee?
1
just-
pound roasted whole beans?
And you need 42 to make 1 cup, or make 1 espresso.
Wow.
1,500.
Oh, it's higher than that,
2,500.
3,200.
higher than that,
Whoa.
4,000
4,000
required to
beans?
produce 1 pound of roasted coffee.
Wow.
Yeah. And the last question, and I didn't know this one, right?
You didn't know the other two either.
That is correct. This one I should have known I didn't. How long does it take? So how is coffee being grown? Or how do they grow coffee beans?
It's on a tree.
Plants.
It's on a tree. I thought it was like in a bush, or so I guess that's considered a tree or something like that, but how long does it take for a coffee tree to reach maturity?
5 years.
3 years.
7.
15 years.
Evan, how did you know it was 5 years? Do you have a coffee tree at home?
No.
Got it.
Nailed it. I have a lottery ticket in the office. So. But if you have any questions, let us know. We're here to help.
Especially about coffee.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Everyone. All right, last up. Don't forget Access Home Closing. Chase is actually in the room. $1,300 a side compared to average price is $1,500. And that's regardless of the home price. So it doesn't go up because of home prices. It's a flat fee. Call Chase or just go to bookwithchase.com. He is here to help you guys get deals. And I will close it with this for our quote of the month. Most people fail not because of lack of desire, but because of lack of commitment. And I know it takes a lot of commitment to make it in this business. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you guys for making it. We will see you on the next one.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.